just about sailing July. Now the summer has gone by very, very quickly so far, and I haven't actually done an awful lot with Serenity since I got back from my journey, to be quite honest. I think being a landlubber definitely doesn't suit me. Things like life and finances get in the way a bit, and I'll cover some of that stuff and what's going on in a later video. But for today, let's put together four, and I'm not even in a boat at the moment, not even in a boat. Let's put together 4 topics that rarely go together: dredging, toilets, food, and the America's Cup. So when I was in Brighton a month or so back, they've got a bit of a mud problem, and they're solving this in a similar way to what they do in Watch It, which is they've got a dredger. Slightly newer, different model, and we'll have a look at that in a second. But I think the secret here is what they've done is they've given it a cutesy name. They've called it Doris. So let's have a quick look at Doris the dredger, and this is probably mainly for the guys back in Watch It. Right, meet Doris. Doris the dredger, and this is just for my old mates back in Watch It, who often wonder what a dredging machine looks like. Well, a bit supersonic really is the actual answer. And here it is in action. And again, for my friends in Watch It, no, I haven't turned the sound down. So there you go, that's your secret. Just give your dredger a cutesy little name and nobody seems to be bothered by it at all. Anyway, sailing's a little bit like camping in as much as there's 2, or cruising sailing, there's 2 topics of conversation people always want sorted out, and that's toilets and food. I've got to do a lot with the toilet. I've got to put in a holding tank, replumb it and so on, but just in the interim, and I actually did this before I set sail, is I put in a twist and lock system, which is a slightly safer way. It's a way of updating your Jabsco toilet, so let's have a quick look at that. Why not upgrade your toilet now? Well, who could possibly resist such a fantastic advertising slogan as that? I'm surprised that everybody's not going out and buying one of these kits, and I'm installing the new Jabsco twist and lock replacement pump. I needed to service the toilet pump anyway, and I decided to get one of these twist and lock ones, and this makes life a lot easier because basically you just buy the whole unit, unplug the hoses and replace it, and it comes with, well, it just comes as a complete unit, so easy peasy. Yeah, I'm not going to show putting all the pipes and things in, 2 reasons. One, I forgot to actually film it, and secondly, it's just simple. It's really, really simple to change that. But food, this is an important one, and I've been meaning to cover this for a little while. I used to have a pressure cooker, and a lot of people say pressure cookers are great on boats. That used to terrify me, and I found it really difficult to get the level just right, so it was just hissing right. And the trouble is then you get to your anchorage and then you still have to cook. I am now not using my pressure cooker at all. I use a slow cooker, a thermal slow cooker, which is great. And what that means is you can prepare a decent meal either en route or before you set out, put it in the thermal cooker, and it will actually cook. And when we did the final leg, I went round with my sister from Ramsgate, and we moored overnight at Hearty Ferry. We immediately had a lovely curry that was ready for us, and so let's have a look at how this works. Right, the point of this is to say we've just arrived at the mooring, and now we have a lovely hot curry waiting for us, which actually took about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, quarter of an hour to prepare whilst we were sort of moching over, using the wonderful thermal cooker. And I did a bit of a video of that earlier, so I'm going to show actually how the thermal cooker works, but it's a brilliant device to do. I'm sorry, I'm talking deliberately because my sister is bursting to eat her food. So right, anyway, it looks good. Too late. Oh, here we go. Right, video off. So this is the thermal oven. It's the outer bit, which is basically like a thermos flask. There's the inner big pot, and then there's a smaller pot for the rice, but we'll look at that in a minute. So onions nicely fried up. Some diced chicken, and chopped tomatoes, some mixed mixed veg. An amount, very important, an amount of curry powder. I like to add some split red lentils. It kind of thickens things up, and I actually like the flavour of these. Basically my staple diet when I was at university. So boil them both up, literally just for a few minutes, and then what happens is the lid comes off this one. Quick final stir, and then the rice goes on top, and that's ready to transfer to the thermal pot. And then very simply, it's still bubbling away, this goes into the thermal pot, close the lid. This can go down in a locker or something for a few hours, 3-4 hours, or as long as you're out cruising for, and then you'll have a lovely curry and rice ready and waiting for you. Right, it's now about 4 hours later, and I just had the idea I could have done a time-lapse thing in the boat, couldn't I? And then you could have sort of seen that this was real, so I'm going to emulate the passage of time here. Look at that, so smooth. And what is the time? Okay then, so what is that, 4.5 hours later? Let's have a look. There's the rice. Nicely cooked. I usually do too much rice actually. No, this is not bad. So just imagine, you've been sailing all day, you come into the anchorage, and you can immediately take this out of a cupboard, and you have basically, don't know how appetizing this looks or not, but you basically have a steaming hot curry waiting for you with no effort whatsoever. Oh, actually that smells really nice. Don't know how it looks, probably looks a bit icky, but anyway, there you go. So I'm not on commission, I don't get any money for thermal cookers. I'll put a link below in the description so you can get onto the website. And I have met Mr. D, who is a charming chap, the guy who actually invented the thing. But anyway, right now this next bit is mainly for Brits and Americans, because we both have that feeling. We know exactly what it's like to be completely trounced well and truly by the New Zealand America's Cup team. They were brilliant. They have won, I don't think they lost a single race where they went through the start gate first, and they went through the start gate first. They were just absolutely untouchable. Anyway, but I've had a look at some of the clips, and there's some coming up. Let's see if you agree with me. I think in the last race there was a bit in the middle where there was a slight tear in the American sail, and I think that's what cost it for them. So let's have a look at this. It's just a few edited highlights, and have a close look. The American boat is the American team are in the yellow boat, by the way.
New Zealand have won 7 of the 8 races in this match, but the lead is only 6-1 due to the Americans claiming a bonus point in the qualifying stages. It's now or never for Oracle Team USA if they've to stop New Zealand making history. Let's join our commentary team of Alistair Rican, Ken Reid, and on the water, BAR's Freddie Carr.
Race number 9 of the America's Cup match underway. It could be the last as the New Zealanders aim to make history. The eyes of the sporting world now focused firmly on the Great Sound.
Standing by here.
Foiling tack, such a slick manoeuvre.
He anticipated them, the Kiwis to be this good.
Standing by here.
Great shot from the drone as Glenn Ashby heads across the trampoline, takes the helm for a moment until Peter Burling arrives. And they just have this brilliant distribution of responsibility that works so well for them. Glenn Ashby, the man one in front of Burling, something of a catamaran guru, multiple world champion, and a big influence, by the way, on Jimmy Spithill. It's that arm's length thing.
Exactly.
Keeping them where they want them.
Looking up the backside of these wings again, looking to try to prove me correct on Emirates 2 New Zealand, but they seem pretty quiet with the top section of the...
Peter Burling at the moment with his foot on the American jugular, looking to go in for the kill pretty soon now. Got to admire the calm, the composure, the measured approach which this man has brought to proceedings all across this 5 weeks of racing on the Great Sound. Think back just a few weeks ago to when their boat was in shreds after that dramatic pitch pole. And not just him, of course, the shore team who put it all back together.
Hey, don't forget the millions of Kiwis that are up watching this right now. I think it's about 5 in the morning back on that little island, and they're just licking their chops right now. They're saying, Auckland, here we come.
Wiping the sleep from their eyes and recognizing that their team is close now. Very, very close indeed.
Could be 2 more jibes in, though. Elite, possibly 1 more jibe in. Let's see if they can soak down, because this is kind of an interesting angle into the finish line. Let's see if they can soak and get there.
So the USA desperately trying to chase the Kiwis down, but the game is up. There will be no fairy tale comeback this time around. Jimmy Spithill has lost his magic wand, and in the meantime, the Kiwis, innovative in their design, intense in their focus, resilient throughout the time here in Bermuda. The New Zealanders pedaling into the history books. The America's Cup wrestled from the USA by Burling's men in black. The trophy belongs to New Zealand. All that heartache and pain of San Francisco replaced by jubilation here in Bermuda.
Did you spot it? Well, there you go. The other thing, and I hadn't noticed this before, is I think it probably was a mistake for the Americans to stop and go fishing in the middle of the race. I think that could have been a bit of a tactical error. Anyway, that's enough for this video. I will see you next time, and have a nice summer until then.